Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So why can't all fishing trips be awesome, unforgettable fishing trips, with moments that you'll cherish for the rest of your life? The truth is this year I spent 3 different trips going to Chickamauga, trying to time that fall frog bite up, and had one okay trip, and on 2 of those trips we just flat out struggled, no lie. In this video, what I want to talk about is how to maybe make those trips more effective and how to make the most out of those trips that you go on that sometimes just turn out to be a struggle. Stay with us, guys. This is guaranteed to be a great episode.
Forgot it was in my hand.
This video, we're going to take a look at some of the things that we did to find some fish and, some of the things that we did that just didn't work. So stay tuned. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Maybe hit us up with a comment, maybe something you did on Chickamauga when it was a really tough day, like some of the days that we've had. And how'd you find success on those really tough days?
Look, after last year, the toad runner bite, it was exhausted to say the least. I had a few bites on it this year, but not very many bites at all. So it's safe to say that probably a lot of people saw the video we put out last year, the 78 pounder, and had another opportunity to jaunt that we missed on the toad runner. But, this year just, it wasn't the lure, it wasn't meant to be. And that's the thing about lures. They come and they go, in cycles. And, sometimes these lures will come back a few years down the road. Even though we didn't catch a ton of fish on this trip, we still learned a ton about the lake. We'd really never been on the southern end of the lake, down around the dam, and we went down and had to look around down there just to see what we could find, and honestly just learn the lay of the lake. Last year we didn't venture probably more than a mile or 2 from the ramp, but this year we really wanted to get around the lake and to explore and to possibly see what else was out there. We found some fish on the lower end. We thought that we had a grass mat down around one of the marinas that was loaded up with fish, but the temperature continued to drop this entire trip, and those fish just disappeared. They just weren't there when we needed them. And we went back the last day of practice before the event started just to try to check on those fish and see if those fish were still there, and they were gone. So the bite was changing. It was cold, it was miserable, and sometimes those trips just go that way. One of the things that I always do on Tennessee River lakes, I seem to have success, is I try to fish, riprap and rocks. At this point, we're down around the power plant, and I had one of the Cumberland Pro Lures Pro tail spinners on, and that thing flat catches smallmouth, but I just can't convince myself to go to Chickamauga and go smallmouth fishing when I know what's out there with those giant greenfish. And if you're heading to a Tennessee River lake this spring, to always pack the Booyah One Knocker and Rayburn Red. Just seems to be a consistent producer on Tennessee River lakes. In the early spring and late fall, one of the things I've had success doing in the past is targeting a hump right off the main river channel. The grass was mostly blown out at Chick at this point because the water was down almost to winter pool, And the lake was different than any time I'd been on it. I'd never been on the lake at Winter Pool. But those humps off that main river channel, at least on Guntersville, always seem to hold fish in the early spring, late fall.
It's a big one, man. Hey, it's a line structure. But I mean, it is dead calm flat today. Feels like, it feels like a fish. How about that? It may be a bass. Are they bigger than you? Mom and Dad, look at
You know, the white bass were the available species on this trip. Didn't seem like no matter what you threw out in the grass mats on the main river channel that you could get into some white bass. And we seemed to run into those all over the lake, but that wasn't what we were here after, and those wouldn't cash a check. You know, when you're throwing that lipless crank, don't let it look like everybody else's lipless crank. What I do is I yo-yo it some, I hit it some, twitch it some, just to give it a different look than the lure that everybody else is throwing. If you've seen the video I put up in the past of my personal best on Guntersville, you saw that fish was caught yo-yoing a lipless crank. Every time I watch this clip, I chuckle. Me and Mike, we went to eat some dinner and left the boat unhooked. And, Blue Water's a nice place. We just left our stuff on the deck. There's a ton of people around, most of them bass fishermen.
Hey, look here. Garrison, he ain't scared to leave his life jacket laying right there, buddy.
They'd have no reason to bother our stuff, and these guys were over there checking it out. And I'd accidentally left the camera on the yellow tech, just made for a funny moment.
That's a nice setup. I like it.
Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Maybe hit us up with a comment, maybe something you did on Chickamauga when it was a really tough day, like some of the days that we've had. And how'd you find success on those really tough days? Thanks for watching, guys.